All right, everybody. I hope you guys are all doing quite well. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone, each and every one of you. I myself, for the first time in many, many years, I'm not cooking. It's weird to wake up and go, wow, well, today is Thanksgiving Day, and I have a ton of things to be so thankful for, and I am so grateful for. But it's odd not to, be in the kitchen already, making things happen. So we are, our family is currently we are in one of those stages in life where things have gotten a little difficult. And so we're having to just sort of have a modified Thanksgiving, and hopefully things are going to get all straightened out by the time Christmas rolls around. But right now, it's just all about medical healing, all that kind of stuff. So we are we're doing well, and so many things to be thankful for. Life is good and great. But today we are having chili for our Thanksgiving feast. So I hope you guys enjoy your turkey and ham and all that yummy food, pies and such. But sometimes we have to forego the expected, the status quo, and just deal with things on a very rational, logical level. And this year it's going to be chili. And I love chili, so it's a good thing. All right, now then, I continue to be absolutely amazed by the powers that be, the programmers, the world's elite that look out across the globe and think we are so much smarter than all of the little peons of the world, that we're just going to make the decisions that are going to drive their lives, and they just have to shut up and take it. It's like the old plantation owners, isn't it? These people are not elected. I guess one could say that they're the world elite because they have more money than anyone else. And once you get yourself into that situation where you have all the money, then you can control people's lives and you can influence them, and you can make life very difficult for them, those of us that have no money. So with Donald Trump, he was really one of the first U.S. politicians. There have been politicians across the world, other countries, Brazil and whatnot, where the candidate has stood up and said, I am a reflection, I'm a representation of the people of our nation. And so the decisions that I'll be making will be in accordance with strengthening my people. And Donald Trump has been the first United States president who has taken that position. I suppose, I just kind of like a guess off the top of my head, I would say probably since John F. Kennedy. It seems like the world dramatically changed with George H.W. Bush, his involvement with the CIA, the destruction of John F. Kennedy and Robert Kennedy, his brother. And it just seemed like at that point, we entered the United States, perhaps the world, but we entered this time of the never-ending wars, right? It's just like when you look back in the history books, we just went from one war to the next. And in fact, back when journalism was real and journalists took a lot of pride, not in being a member of the rich and famous, but when journalists took a great deal of pride in providing facts and authenticity. They didn't care about money. They cared about their really critical role in the United States government, and that is providing oversight of our elected officials. It was the journalist's job to pay attention to Capitol Hill, to pay attention to Congress, look at the laws that they are passing, pay attention to the president and whatever they may be up to. So that was abdicated, that they relinquished their really critical role as part of the United States government, or as the watchdog for the United States government. They relinquished that role in favor of becoming one of them. What is the old saying? Keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. It's like the politicians figured that out. They said, it's the journalists that can take us down and make us or break us. So should we really be fighting with them? Or should we draw up alliances? Should we welcome them into the hen house with us? And essentially, that's what they've done. They've welcomed them into the hen house. These corporate news stations that run these 24-hour news cycles, like MSNBC, Fox News, CNN. Do you guys know that their lead broadcasters, they're making $50 million a year? The companies give them these multi-million-dollar penthouses in Manhattan. It's kind of crazy when you stop to think about it. If you are being picked up in a limousine and carried to work, and when you get to work, your job is to inform the nation, well, somehow someone is screwing up. And what I mean by that is this: their real job, the important part of their job, was oversight of the government, right? Well, how is it that they sit up there day after day, night after night, they put these nonsense stories out about little dogs that find their granny who's getting cancer treatment on the 10th floor in a Manhattan hospital, and the little dog knows to go to that hospital and wait at the elevator? Like, how's the dog, if the dog gets in the elevator, how's the dog going to touch the button for the 10th floor? Nobody questioned this story that was run on a Sunday on Fox News, but it was a real story. How this little dog missed his mommy so much, who was in the hospital getting cancer treatment, that he tracked her through the streets of Manhattan to this very specific hospital, and is standing at the elevator waiting to go up. I suppose he knew what floor she was on, waiting to go up. And the daughter or the son of the woman getting cancer treatment just noticed the little dog and said, "Oh, look, that looks like my mom's dog, Fluffy." I mean, it's so ridiculous. And this was on Fox News, what is supposed to be an actual news station. And I'm not picking on Fox News. You get the same nonsense coming out of CNN and MSNBC and ABC and whatever. So how is it that these people that have been given penthouses and they get invitations to the Christmas party at the White House in Washington, D.C., how is it these people who are supposed to be the overseers of the elected, how exactly are they supposed to tell you when your congressman or your president or your vice president is completely sinking a knife into your back as the American worker? How are they supposed to do that when after the broadcast, they're going to get on their get in their limousine and head right back to their fancy schmancy penthouse? How can they do that? They're bought and paid for. And under George Bush, followed up by Barack Obama, they signed laws that would allow propaganda, good old-fashioned Russian propaganda that we as children would, if you're 55 and above, when you were in school, when you were still getting a real education, reading, writing, and arithmetic, we were taught that news stations, newspapers had a legal and ethical mandate to report the facts, just the facts, and that there was an editorial page that people would then, the editor or other people working at the station, that they would give their opinions. At this point, oh my God, we are getting no facts. We are getting all opinion, and it is an obscenity. But with George Bush setting the stage and Barack Obama then following up and completing the dirty deed, it came to pass in the United States of America that we literally now have true government paid for propaganda. You've seen these reels that people have put together where they've compiled 50 different news stations and they're all repeating the same message. It's a little chilling, right? You're like, holy crap, what are they doing? Well, they're programming us. They're giving, they used to talk about, here's your nightly programming. And people are just like, yeah, all right, let's watch some more of that. Let's be brainwashed. There's some great brainwashing that's going on right now on, I believe, Netflix. Maybe it may be Prime. They're doing like a serial of cult-like behavior. How do people get brainwashed? Why do abused people stay in abusive situations? And so that, it's really great information, and everybody should know the information just to keep yourselves or your children safe. But as you watch, I was really excited to see it. It's the kind of thing I'm interested in. I love the whole history of MK Ultra. I don't love it because I think it was great. I'm intrigued by that monsters were allowed to operate in the name of the United States government. I think it's just fascinating that could happen. And so when I saw this, it was brainwashing. I was like, yeah, this is going to be so great. It's going to be cool to watch. And I'm really disappointed in it. They're including the church. The church, you go to, the local Methodist church or the Baptist church. They're including that as a cult. Listen to this one. The United States military is a cult. And of course, I don't have to tell you that they use a lot of Donald Trump imagery to say that people that support Trump, that they are in a cult. And yet, it wasn't Donald Trump that paid performers $10, $15, $20 million just to stand at a podium for 3 minutes and say, Kamala, she's our girl. If she can't do it, we'll blow up the world. It's kind of freaky how their programming has gotten so basic and so blatant and so freaking scary. Okay. So I'm watching this whole phenomenon and I'm blown away by, I think now they say that Trump got like 76, 77 million votes, something like that. And yet they still haven't, even though they continue to count, I think they're finished now, or maybe there's a place in California that's still counting. But even with Pennsylvania saying we're going to count illegal votes and we don't care what you guys say. They still didn't find 20 million people that voted for Joe Biden but decided not to vote for Kamala. And that is very difficult to believe because the Democrat Party is very loyal. It's really, really loyal and well-formed. They don't go against party lines. They're a very powerful group because they don't splinter like the Republicans do. Republicans are always fighting with each other. There's always a grappling for power and position, and it's disgusting. The whole thing's disgusting. Anyway, my point being, let me get back on track. The news people are supposed to be providing oversight of these elected officials who are behaving badly to the point that it doesn't matter if it's blue or red, Democrat or Republican. People will, like 70% of the people say government is not working. That's 70% of people hate the United States Congress, both the Republicans and the Democrats. It's not like one party is great and the other party is awful. Not at all. Everyone is sick of the United States government because they have really mishandled our world. For example, how many of you have seen the slums in Mexico? Or the slums in Vietnam? Or China, the sweatshops in China? We've all seen it. We know it's out there. But here's what our elected officials did to us, our government, the people we voted for. Here's what they did to us. They took great American jobs that were paying $25, $30, $35 an hour, that were paying a living wage, and they made an agreement. First one started with NAFTA, and there's been, iterations of it through the years. But if you own Chevrolet or Ford, and you have to pay auto workers $25, $50 or more an hour. But now our congressman has made a law that you can go operate anywhere in the world that you want to operate, and you're not going to have to pay tariffs. You're not going to have to pay new taxes. If you're that business owner, you're going, well, why am I going to pay an American $50 an hour to work? And I can just go across the border down into Mexico where they pay $2. Backlash from making your products in Mexico or Vietnam or China, and you get to ship them right back here into the United States with no kind of penalty at all. You go from paying somebody $50 an hour to $2 an hour. Did they pass those savings on to us, I ask you? Did the price of your car suddenly go down $10,000, $15,000, $20,000? No, actually, the prices on our cars have been steadily going up to the point now that a new truck is the price of a house. You can literally go to a rural town in the United States and purchase a house for $50,000, $70,000, $80,000. Literally. And now they're selling trucks that will depreciate the moment you drive off the lot, that will be dead in 9 years, won't be able to roll down the road in 9 years. What the hell? But the reporter, the programmers, the news, they're not telling us these things because they live in penthouses that are paid by these congressmen. You say, oh my God, what are you talking about? No, the United States government doesn't pay for penthouses for reporters. Are you sure? Who does Paul Ryan work for? He's no longer in Congress. He was once the Speaker of the House, a Republican. Who does he work for now? Do y'all know? He works for Fox News. There are any number of these powerful congressmen that have left Congress and have been employed by very powerful news organizations, and they have been given the corner office with the big windows and a plant. And me and you, we're struggling to get by to pay for a 2-bedroom apartment. So how did we get here? What happened? The programmers happened. The world elite happened. They said, we're smarter than the little people. Those little dumb to tend to their own affairs. We have all the money. We should be making all the rules, right? And we're kind of blind because we're working all day. Then we come home at the end of the day and we sit down and watch the nightly news and we get our programming. Tells us how fearsome and frightening the world is and how lucky we are to have our politicians. They're completely out of touch. What happened in this past election, this was a massive backlash against the elite. This was a massive backlash against the programmers, the mainstream media. The people, the workers of the United States stood up and stomped their foot and said, we have had enough of this nonsense. We're finished with this. We want to elect people who are working for our interest. The politicians are taking our tax money and helping us, not taking our tax money and sending overseas, protecting other people's borders. This was not some kind of weird conspiracy. This is so easy to see how it happened, to see how it came to pass. It's easy. This is not difficult. And so now I've run across this little clip on Twitter. Ran across this little clip on Twitter. And of course, this is the National Press Club of Australia. But this is one of the world's elites, right? This is one of those who's so much smarter than you and I. They have so much more money than we do. And therefore, they get to be the plantation owner and point the finger and tell us what work to do and when and how, and shut up and don't complain as you go home to your little tiny apartment that, you don't have any food in because eggs are $50 a dozen. This is one of those. And I want you to listen to this. It's so interesting that even after this election, they won't listen. While they tell us how smart they are, while they tell us to sit down and be quiet because they got this and they're going to fix this and get us all help and get us all straightened out. It's all nonsense. It's all a lie. But listen to what they say. They call names, first of all, conspiracy theorists, deplorables, all kinds of Trump-pansy, all kinds of crazy name calling, as if we were kids on a playground. We're screaming, We can't buy any damn groceries, people. And they're saying, oh, my, look at those little cult members. My goodness, look at those Black people voting for Trump. Don't they know we called Trump a racist? What's wrong with it? No, they're not voting for Trump because he's a racist or he's Black or he's white or he's yellow or orange or chimpanzee. They're voting for Trump as a statement against you, mainstream media. The voters made a statement against the Mitch McConnells and the Lindsey Grahams of the world. It was a statement of anger because we want to buy groceries. And yet, they're so smart. They know so much more than you do, but they don't get this simple concept. So listen to this discussion. My jaw hit the ground when I saw this. I was like, it's incredible that this supposed academic elite, this guy with the big brain and the high IQ numbers, spouts this nonsense. They do not get it. They do not understand that we, the people, are no longer being programmed. We have turned their programming off, haven't we? Most of us, we could care less about what's being shown on ABC or Fox. Most of us have walked completely away from it, and we're watching our favorite YouTubers, we're watching our podcasters. Something big happens in the world, what do? We run to Twitter to see who's saying what about it. They don't understand that they have been fired. They do not understand those 77 million people that voted and created this red wave. They do not understand it. Even when Kamala Harris spent $1 billion in 100 days, including going in debt $20 million to pay for singers. They didn't even sing. They just walked out on stage. I don't know. Looks like some dirty money to me. But they didn't even understand that being out of touch. They truly believe that we're low IQ. They believe we're dumb, except they're demonstrating that they, the world's elite, the programmers of the mainstream media, they are the ones that are demonstrating low IQ. They are showing the world they cannot learn. Don't you think if 77 million people stand up and say, we don't like that we can't buy groceries. We do not like that there are no good jobs. We do not like that we have paid 20 years on a house and now you've moved people in next door, that there's like 12 or 15 people living in a single house and they're not working, and it's creating a nuisance in the neighborhood. They don't understand that Americans are sick and tired of being the slaves to the rest of the world, that we go to work, our money is taken out of our paycheck and immediately sent overseas to people who don't really even like us very much, actually. They are demonstrating an inability to learn. It's amazing to me. Like, I'm truly dumbfounded. I have in my other videos, I have talked about the different excuses that the elite, the programmers, the different excuses that they've given as to why Kamala lost the election. Crazy stuff, misogyny. Oh, Kamala couldn't win because men hate her. Well, there was a great number of women, educated women of all background, that did in fact not vote for Kamala. They said that it was racism. They said that Kamala lost because there were memes where she was overly sexualized. And I'm just sitting back, just baffled, shaking my head. What's wrong with these people? They cannot be dumb, or maybe they are. Maybe they are dumb people. Maybe they're in their positions of power. They're up in their ivory tower simply because they agreed to toe the line, to say whatever they were told to say, to keep their mouths shut and collect their money. Maybe they are stupid. But listen to this little exchange by one of the world's elite, and listen to the level of just the nauseating amount of privilege dripping off of this man's earlobes. It's amazing. Let me make sure my sound is up.
I have a question about Joe Rogan, and you've sort of touched on elements of this in the US. He's obviously the world's most popular podcast host. He has 3 billion listeners. He's sort of managed to successfully capture that bro market in America.
Okay. He has 1 billion listeners. That is because you guys have been fired. No one is listening to you on the TV. No one is reading your newspapers. You have been fired. People would prefer to listen to Joe Rogan or other podcasters, little old YouTubers. They would prefer that and get an authentic opinion, authentic messaging, than to be manipulated. That's why Joe Rogan has 1 billion followers, people that, those are active listeners. And ABC is pulling in the lowest numbers they've ever had, ever. We've got YouTube channels, not even very big YouTube channels, that get more daily views than ABC and NBC. That is the truth. You're fired. You've been fired. The people of the world know that you guys have completely mismanaged our lives. We're not willing to support you guys anymore. That's the phenomenon of Joe Rogan or the various YouTubers. People don't want to be brainwashed anymore by this nonsense.
And his influence is such that in the wake of the US election, the Democrats have said that one of Kamala Harris's mistakes was that she didn't appear on his program. So I'm just wondering if you had any observations about what's behind the Joe Rogan effect, how you believe he's managed to so successfully capture this huge market. And then for us here in Australia,
how he's managed to capture 1 billion listener market. How? It's not hard. It doesn't require a PhD to understand this. The way that he has managed to get 1 billion actual active listeners, he's truthful. He's authentic. He's just being a normal guy trying to live a normal life. He has interesting conversations with interesting people, not with the ulterior motive of managing and handling us, the listener. The reason that Joe Rogan is doing a podcast and he has these interesting conversations with interesting people is because it's interesting. He has no ulterior motive to influence us. He just puts his information out there. He just puts it out there in the way that he thinks is most interesting. And then whoever comes to listen, listens. I find it embarrassing for these people, these journalists and these academic elite, that they can't understand this. I find that this is embarrassing for them, truly embarrassing.
That she didn't appear on his program. So I'm just wondering if you had any observations about what's behind the Joe Rogan effect, how you believe he's managed to so successfully capture this huge market. And then for us here in Australia, how would or should the ABC be going about capturing that kind of audience?
What? How can the ABC go about capturing that kind of audience? You guys can't, because you're the programmers. You're the brainwashers. You are working in concert with your government. And the government is not supposed to control the people. The people are in control of the government. This is absolutely incredible that the demonstration, the paucity of knowledge demonstrated in this one clip alone, as I said, it's embarrassing and shocking. Listen to this babbling one more time.
Such that in the wake of the US election, the Democrats have said that one of Kamala Harris's mistakes was that she didn't appear on his program. So I'm just wondering if you had any observations about what's behind the Joe Rogan effect, how you believe he's managed to so successfully capture this huge market. And then for us here in Australia, how would or should the ABC be going about capturing that kind of audience?
Look, I'm not sure that I'm the right person to respond to that question. I am not a consumer or enthusiast about Mr. Rogan and his work.
Shocking.
She says, shocking. Why is that shocking? Because you are the one young lady who is appearing to be low IQ. That you are the one that is reflecting ignorance to even ask the question, oh, what could we be doing to capture the same audience that Joe Rogan has? What can we do? Because we need to be able to influence our listeners to vote for the people that we want them to vote for and to purchase the items that we want them to purchase. This is incredible, absolutely incredible. But here's your academic elite. Watch this. Listen to his choice of words, and this will tell you why they will never have a billion active listeners. Listen to his choice of words to make a very simple statement.
Look, I'm not sure that I'm the right person to respond to that question. I am not a consumer or enthusiast about Mr. Rogan. And
I'm not a consumer or enthusiast about Mr. Rogan. Well, that's because 1 billion people love Joe Rogan, and you, the world's elite, sit up there in the clouds somewhere and look down on those 1 billion people as if they were simple little ants in the dirt. That's why. Why would he say, I'm not an enthusiast? Why would he talk like that? Why wouldn't he just say, I've never listened to Joe Rogan. I don't know who that is. That's one of the appeals of Donald Trump. People that are elite and educated, they look at Donald Trump and they go, ugh, why do people listen to him? Ugh, he's so disgusting. The words he uses, the way he talks, what the hell is bigly? They don't understand. He's speaking to convey information. He's being a person. He's not trying to impress anyone. It's actually amazing to listen to this guy. Now listen, this is the biggest bunch of word salad. It's incredible.
his work.
Shocking.
I am not one of the 3 billion, and I'm unlikely to be 3,000,000,001 anytime soon.
And he's proud of that. Don't misunderstand what he said. He's demonstrating pride that he shall not be one of the 3,000,000,001. Well, her question was, how can we be one of them? That was her question. We want those billion viewers. So how are we going to do that? I have a question for all of you. Do you believe that this tiny little who measures his worth not by his member, not by the number of positive relationships and friendships that he has in the world, but by the number of dollars that he has in the bank? Do you guys believe that this little tiny man right here, do you think that he will ever appeal to a billion people? Ever? Or do you think that his just the way he talks is an automatic turnoff? It's like, who the hell are you? Like, we don't even know your name. What are you? Like, why do you think you are so special? And why does this young woman looking at how do we capture a market as Joe Rogan? What is the Joe Rogan effect? How do we do that? Right there, young lady, you will never capture that audience, ever. And the reason that you won't capture that audience is because you don't understand the listeners. We are no longer being programmed. We are no longer sitting there drooling in front of the television, being told what to believe and what to do. Those days are finished. They're over. They're gone because you guys squandered our wealth. You guys took American jobs, good paying American jobs, and you sent them to Mexico and China and Vietnam, where they kept their people in poverty. Those companies that were paying Americans a good living wage, they went right across the border and stopped paying for their product. Trucks built in the United States, people were benefiting $50 an hour. Families of the recipient of those wages were living good, dignified lives. These people, these families, they lived in health and pride. You took those jobs and you sent them south of the border to a place that would pay $2 an hour, and you sons of bitches pocketed $48 an hour for every single worker that you moved from the US to Mexico. And you don't understand why we are angry? You don't understand why 77 million people, most of them workers, voted against Kamala and $1 billion spent and all of her Diddy party friends? This is unbelievable. This young lady is saying, I want to be successful like Joe Rogan. Now, what fake, phony thing do I have to do to capture the Joe Rogan effect? That's the whole problem, young lady. You'll never capture the Joe Rogan effect because you're doing fake, phony things. Joe Rogan is just being himself. And he allows people to come onto his platform and talk being themselves. That's it. But with your elite stuff happening, You're only focused on the money. You're only focused on being part of the club. You're only focused on being invited to the mansions and the swanky parties. You do not have an interest or a care in the world to just be authentic. I believe Joe Rogan has a true curiosity about people, about the world, about historical events. And that comes through, doesn't it? Like when you listen, you can tell he's just talking like, oh my God, did you see that? Wow. He's just talking normal. He's not sitting there going, okay, now I need to sell 10,000 of my new widgets. I'm going to manipulate people to believe that my new widget is the best widget. I want to take my listeners and manipulate them into buying these things that they don't need and they don't want, but I need their money. So what can I do to try to make them buy? Joe Rogan is not doing any of that. He's just having people on and having interesting conversations. There's something to be learned from this, and these people are demonstrating that they are low IQ, they are unable to learn.
I think people like Mr. Rogan prey on people's vulnerabilities. They prey on fear. They prey on anxiety. They prey.
I'm sorry, sir. Hold on just a damn minute. Who the hell is threatening nuclear war? Who in the hell is saying that Donald Trump and his supporters are Nazis? And if you vote for Donald Trump, the end of the world is coming. Was that Joe Rogan? I don't think so. I think that Joe Rogan was saying, man, we got to get these prices down. This is crazy. People can't even buy cars anymore. What's wrong? How do you pay $9 for a stick of butter? That's crazy. What do we get? No, not wrong. Joe Rogan was not the one using fear into the world catastrophe scenarios. Nope. And here comes the big one, y'all. Prepare. You're about to get called a name. Are you ready? I know we've been called so many damn names. It's okay. Who cares? But this very important, special, intelligent person, elite, is about to look down upon the little peons of the world and call us a name. Don't cry too hard, my people. Just have a stiff upper lip and stick your middle finger up and say, F you if you don't understand the Joe Rogan effect.
Prey on people's vulnerabilities. They prey on fear. They prey on anxiety. They prey on all of the elements that contribute to uncertainty in society, and they entrepreneur fantasy outcomes and conspiracy outcomes.
They entrepreneur conspiracy outcomes. Don't you think we need a t-shirt that says that? I mean, only these fake, phony assholes can say, oh, Joe Rogan entrepreneurs conspiracy stories and fantasy. It's so silly. This is so silly. Why doesn't he just talk? What does he mean? They entrepreneur fear and conspiracy theory. Shut up. You'll never enjoy the Rogan effect because Rogan is just authentic and you are full to the brim of horse you know what, Buster.
As being a normal part of social narrative. I personally find it deeply repulsive. And to think that someone has such remarkable power in the United States is something that I look at in disbelief. I'm also...
Isn't that an interesting statement? He says that he finds Joe Rogan repulsive, but he also finds he is in disbelief that Joe Rogan has such remarkable power, quote unquote. Isn't that strange? Let me ask you this question. Truly, and I'm going to do the whole, if you believe this, put a 1, if you believe that, put a 2, okay? So this guy is saying that he's disturbed that Joe Rogan has, quotation marks, just remarkable power, end quotes. Remarkable power. When you choose which podcaster you're going to listen to, which YouTuber you're going to watch, do you stop to ask yourself, am I watching a person of power? Does that word power, does that equate with whom you choose to listen? So if you are trying to listen to powerful YouTubers and powerful podcasters, put a 1. If the idea of power has never crossed your mind when trying to decide who to watch, put a 2. I was so intrigued when he said that statement. I thought, who in the hell would even equate this idea of a podcast being powerful? It's misplaced, right? Right, exactly, Julie. It's misplaced attribute. We don't listen to podcasters or YouTubers as a reflection of their power. If you don't believe me, why don't you go to look and see how many subscribers Joe Biden has? Hold on just a minute and I'll pull it up for us. For those of you that have come in since I've started talking, happy Thanksgiving to you. I hope that you have a wonderful, happy day planned. Me, myself, we are not having turkey and dressing. We are having chili today because we have a medical patient and everybody's trying to take care of the little baby. And sometimes you got to roll with the punches, right? We are, in fact, rolling with the punches, and that is healthy. It's not sad and devastating to decide that you cannot cook the traditional Thanksgiving meal. You just do what you got to do to survive in the world, right? We're all doing that. And everybody, their choices need to be respected because that's what it takes to survive. Okay, so I am looking at Joe Biden, his YouTube profile, and y'all can fact check me. That's fine. His personal YouTube channel has 915,000 subscribers. The White House has 2.09 million subscribers. And then let's see. And then Joe Rogan has 18.6 million subscribers. I think, let's see. I got to hit channel. Hold on. Kamala Harris, this is so hilarious. Kamala has 868,000 subscribers. But let's see, who is somebody that we enjoy watching? What's a YouTube channel that you guys like, that you enjoy watching? Like, I think what is that YouTuber's name? Change. So you get my point, right? People are not going to watch Joe Rogan because he's powerful. The most powerful man in the world, ostensibly, is Joe Biden, and he's only got 868,000 compared to Joe Rogan, who's nearly 20 million subscribers. No, people are not making these choices based on power, and yet this bonehead actually really and truly believes that, you know, that people like Joe Rogan are entrepreneurs of conspiracy. It's really fascinating that this guy believes it. But again, that comment on power was so bizarre.
Deeply repulsive. And to think that someone has such remarkable power in the United States is something that I look.
Now, let me finish this thought about his statement on having remarkable power. The reason that he brings that up is that's what he cares about. If you agree with me on that statement, put a 1. If you disagree, put a 2. I think he uses that in his answer because that is actually what he values. That's what he wants. He believes that he's part of the world's elite. He is one of the media programmers, and that is all that motivates them is power and influence. They want to control our brains. That's terrifying. It's terrifying that they would look at Joe Rogan, a beloved figure throughout the entire world, not just the United States of America. He is beloved not because of power and influence. He's beloved because he has interesting conversations with interesting people. Exactly the same reason that Tucker Carlson is beloved. Because Tucker Carlson is not sitting there at his table screaming at you that unless you vote for the candidate he likes, the world is going to come to an end. He doesn't sit there and call you names, horrible names like racist. He just talks. He just says what he thinks. And he has people come on his show and they say what their opinions are. And then we have this voyeuristic opportunity to sit and listen to this really interesting conversation. And this person here, this little man who would be nothing without his money, he would be nothing without his cash. If he suddenly lost every penny, he was being forced to live on $50,000 or $65,000 a year, this man would just crumble. We would see him on a sidewalk sobbing and crying, I can't, it's so bad, the world's come to an end. And you and I are going to look at him and go, what is your problem? You can make a good living on $50,000, $60,000 a year. You just got to be careful. You just can't ride around in a Bentley like the little dictator from Ukraine. You got to buy a used car and not have a payment on it. And you can't go in and buy anything that looks good off the grocery shelves. You got to consider, what's the nutritional value? How do I get the most calories for my money? To stretch that dollar, buddy. And yet they sit at the top of the food chain and they just think about consolidation of power, and they look down on me and you, the real survivors of the world. This little pissant right here, this man is going to absolutely falter. So will the young woman who asked the original question about Joe Rogan. They will falter in the just stuffing. It's just fake, just white fluffy stuffing is inside of them. Nothing of substance. And these are the people that have been making the decisions that affect me and you on a daily basis.
Look at in disbelief. I'm also absolutely in dismay that this can be a source of public entertainment when it's really treating the public as plunder for...
What is he talking about? Our politicians, the mainstream media have plundered, truly plundered the American populace. True plunder. They take our tax dollars before we get paid. They amass those tax dollars, and then they send them to another country. We are sending money. Listen to the mindless bullshit from people like this man. They take our hard-earned money, they send it over to Israel to help Israel build bombs. And then we take more of that money and send it to Lebanon so they can rebuild Beirut, because Beirut has been destroyed by the Israeli bombs that we paid for. Does this make any sense to anybody? How do you guys feel about that? Are you pissed off because I don't run my life that way? Do you run your life that way? When I got $1 to spend, I'm super careful with, okay, how do I best spend this dollar? What can I use with this dollar that will have the longest life to making us safe and comfortable and happy? And can I save a little bit for my future? It should be infuriating that your hard work being used to buy bombs, to drop on Beirut, and then to buy concrete to rebuild Beirut. And who wants to bet Dick Cheney's Halliburton is over there in Beirut right now today, rebuilding what we blew the hell up? So who is this little man to be telling us how shocking it is that Joe Rogan has plundered the listeners? Joe Rogan is not peddling a damn thing.
For purposes that are really quite, because source is something that I look at in disbelief. I'm also absolutely in dismay that this can be a source of public entertainment when it's really treating the public as plunder for purposes that are really quite malevolent.
You know, I've heard Joe Rogan described as a lot of things. Malevolent is not really one of them. So I don't know what that was. But anyway, so what do you guys think? Sincerely, I'm aghast. I can't even believe this. The Australian Parliament just passed a social media ban yesterday for under 16-year-old. Guess what that means now? Digital ID. Yeah, because otherwise, how are you going to prove that you're over 16? Wow. And once you get your digital ID, Megan, then they're going to be able to watch everything you're watching and turn off those shows, interfere with those shows, correct? That is the reason why it is so critically important for the people, the regular people, that we have Twitter where we're not being told what we can say and do, right? And left to their own devices, people will gravitate towards those that they feel most comfortable with, right? I mean, do you have someone, let me ask you this. These people, these elites, they're saying, Barack Obama said this in a speech. They're saying that we have to be protected from social media. Me and you, 50, 60, 70-year-old people, we need to be protected from the messaging of social media. That there's people that are putting information out there, and we just don't know if the people can tolerate what's being said. No, what you're worried about is that your secrets will be exposed, and there's a lot more of us, we the people, than of you, the elite and the politically powerful. We're definitely the bigger army than those who are sitting in office or part of the billionaire club. We are a more powerful faction. What is so interesting, you can listen to the words of this man and you can hear he does not understand. He's a dumbass. He is an elitist who's angry that a common man like Joe Rogan is beloved and powerful. He's sitting there, but I want to be powerful. I'm smart. I have money. I want to be powerful. Why don't they listen to me? Why don't they read my books? Well, they don't read your books, sir, because you say things like, Joe Rogan has entrepreneured the fear porn. That's why they don't listen to you or read your book, sir, because you're an arrogant asshole. Because you have no desire whatsoever, no interest in regular people. You just want to be worshiped. And we, the people, have our hands full trying to work and pay our grocery bill. We don't have time to worship emperors that have no clothes. But he's a dumbass. He's an idiot. He is a stereotypical narcissist who says, I have a certain position in life and you will kneel to me. He doesn't get it. He simply doesn't believe it. But here's the part that should really make you mad. We created him. You and we created this guy. Because I don't mean you and I personally. I mean, we the people, the unelected, the working class. We chose to come home night after watch the programmers. They figured out they were powerful by watching the numbers of us willing to engage and watch the crap that they were shoving in our brains. We do it on YouTube now. YouTube has been a wildly successful social experiment. It has taught us that there's a war that is true out there. And it is, how can I get people to watch me and hear my message? I have something to say. And the more people that can hear what I have to say, the more valid of a human being I actually am. And that is simply false. That's not true. If I get up here and I say the things that I want to talk about, I laugh about the things I find funny or whatnot, and 5 of you come in here to listen, then you 5 are valid. It just means that the 6 of us have the same sense of humor. But there could be 50 million out there that have no interest in what I'm talking about, but it doesn't reduce my value as a human being. It just means they have other stuff that they're thinking about. They have other stuff they're interested in. But on YouTube, every creator is so freaked out about, oh my God, I've got to grow my channel, or oh my God, I'm losing subscribers. You better not say that. Oh, we should say this. How do we attract people? Make some crazy thumbnails. And it's all about developing this attraction to your channel that will get numbers in, because numbers are power, numbers are money. This asshole has been in the game a lot longer than we YouTubers. He is the product of what we are creating. And I don't know about you, but I don't have any interest of being someone like this. Oh, Joe Rogan is entrepreneured fear and devastation and destruction. Shut up. No, he's not. He's funny. He has interesting topics. That's it. It's not a mystery. He's not going crazy on his channel. He's just being authentic. He's not trying to present himself in a highly desirable way or a highly shocking way. He's just himself. And that attracts people, right? So we learn a big lesson from this, and this is that our viewing is quite powerful. That when we do go to a YouTube channel and someone is screaming and yelling and cussing and fighting, we're creating the monster. Or when we go to a YouTube channel where someone is going to dollar store and buying plastic bowls and then turning them into beautiful Christmas creations, we're also lifting that content up. But we're the creators. We're the creator of that power, not this little man. When we turn off the TV, when we stop buying his arrogant, narcissistic books, when we no longer watch ABC, CBS, NBC, we take our power back. And we say, no, we don't. We made you a king and you abdicated your responsibilities as king. You've destroyed the economy, the social fabric of the country. We don't want you there anymore. Therefore, we are now going to dismiss you. We're not going to watch you anymore. We're going to watch Joe Rogan because he makes us laugh. He makes us feel good. He has interesting stuff on. And that's what we want to watch at the end of a day after working 10, 12 hours. I'd like to ask this little man how many hours a day he works. And Cinnamon Hot Hot says, yeah, shut up, Mr. No Shoulders. I know you probably wander around your mansion in a little turtle outfit, you little freak. Right. Well said, Cinnamon Hot Hot. Diddy. All right. Dilly Dilly. All right. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I'm in the desert celebrating and thankful for this day. Thank you so much, Black Rose. I hope you and your family have a wonderful, wonderful day. Let's see what else. The Australian part. Oh, we did that about Australia. That is crazy. And Megan, they're doing it in Australia, and look at what they've done in Great Britain. I mean, it is incredible that they have criminalized thoughts in Great Britain. It's incredible. Moonbeam Muse. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you across the pond on double speed at the moment playing catch up. It's great to see you, Moonbeam Muse. Thank you so much. You better. I'm pissed off. I'm in the Appalachians. People are living in the mud. No government money in sight. No help. Blocking out the devastation on social media. 100% Cinnamon. And listen to what I learned a few days ago. Made me nauseated. She is referring to, of course, the devastation in Georgia, North Carolina from Hurricane Helene, and the fact that FEMA is nowhere to be found except in the big city, which is all, of course, Democrat voters. But listen to this. The Amish, Scott Presler went to Pennsylvania and befriended the Amish. And they, for the first time in history, voted because the Joe Biden administration has been waging a war on the Amish community and growing their food. They don't like that the Amish community grows their own food and does their own milk. They don't like it. And so they are going to their farms and making them pour out literally hundreds of gallons of milk and pounds and pounds and pounds of tomatoes and produce. It's disgusting to see the videos. So Scott Presler goes to Pennsylvania and he talks to these people for months and months before the election. He gets to know them as a real person. He's being honest about who he is, little Mr. No Shoulders Turtle Boy. So Scott Presler goes and he does this. And in the end, for the first time in history, the Amish take a stand and they go vote. It's the first time they voted for the president of the United States of America. They don't vote. It is against their religion. So because they have been under attack by the Biden administration, and because Presler went out and formed an alliance with them and talked with them, they did in fact go vote, and they were a big part of Trump winning Pennsylvania. But the Amish went to North Carolina and built 100 houses for people that lost their homes in the floods, the Hurricane Helene floods. They built houses for these people. Now, they're not big $3,000 McMansions, but they're definitely tiny home, out of the rain, heating and cooling, running water houses, correct? They just go out there and they just whip those babies up and they're ready to go. People can move right in, right? The Biden administration, they can't get FEMA out there. They can't get FEMA out there to help those people. But they were able to get their building inspectors out there, and these houses would not pass building code, and they sent everyone that had moved in out of the houses and back into tents and won't let anyone in the buildings. Do you guys know that the Amish are like the most gifted and talented woodworkers on the planet? I'm telling you, this government is our enemy, not because we are conspiracy theorists, but we can watch their actions. They no longer care that we can see that they hate us. You've got people living in tents in the mud. First it was in the heat, now it's in the freezing cold. And people came who were grateful. They came and they built places where people could get out of the cold. They could be warm. They could cook a hot meal. They could take a shower. And the Biden administration destroyed that. I'm going to tell you, I would have 100% supported people pulling out their Second Amendment and saying, back off, get away from these houses. These people need a place to live. Done with you. Go away, go back to Washington, tell Joe Biden that we would not let you put these people back in tents. It's simply unbelievable, but it's real. It's happening. Exactly. The Amish, they're trying to put in little shed houses. Well, what the government would call tiny homes, which they've been pushing on us for how long? Now tiny homes are costing $200,000, $300,000 to live in. And I'm sitting around going, why the hell are you going to buy a tiny home for $200,000 when you can go buy a new brick house for that? They are brainwashing people into madness. It is incredible, truly incredible. I never realized how oppressed Australia was until the fires and then the corona. It looks like Red China to me. They have destroyed Australia. They took their guns, and once they got the guns away from the people, it fell apart. Right. So that is it. I hope this wasn't too controversial for Thanksgiving Day, but it was just so hard to pass up. It was, this little clip right here is such a perfect example of how we got here. This is the example for how we ended up with a $9 stick of butter, people. This is it. This is the reason. And he's wrong. He's just wrong. And we're going to add this to our list of excuses for why Kamala Harris did not win. We're misogynist. We are racist. We over-sexualized Kamala. And, now I guess this guy is saying because we watched the wrong podcast. That's why Kamala lost, is because we, the people, watch the wrong podcast. It's crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely crazy. All right. So that is it. Thank you so much for being here. Really and truly, I hope everything is wonderful in your world today, whether you do the traditional Thanksgiving or you go my route and you're in survival mode and you just do the best you can and feel good about that. All right. No guilt. Just do what you got to do. After all, what's this really all about? It's really all just about loving the person you're with, being with the people you love, enjoying your life, and not exploiting others, right? That's what we're all trying to do in the world. So today is one of those days to sort of draw our attention to it. And before I end the stream, I want everybody to put in the chat one thing that you are thankful for. I am thankful for my daughter's health, and that she has overcome what could have been a devastating injury, and that she is definitely healing and on the mend. And that is one thing I am thankful for. So I'm going to wait for everybody to sort of put in one thing you're thankful for. Also, I have to ask for prayers. One of our mods, I think she's been with us as long as Critters. Her husband was recently killed. So Diane's husband has been killed, and I hope that you will lift up prayers to Diane. And if you have her email and you've been friendly with her, please reach out to her and let her know that we're thinking of her and that we are waiting. When she is healed and she's ready to return, we will all be here waiting for her, okay? All right, so one thing that you're thankful for. I'm gonna take a little turtle boy off the screen if y'all don't mind. There we go. We'll take the little turtle man off, and as we are writing down the things that we are thankful for, just one thing. I'll tell you something else I'm thankful for, and this is no joke, people. I'm being serious about this. One thing All right, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna follow up with the Amos Farms. I want to do a video on Amos Farms and the purchasing the food online and everything. And I think I'm going to do a video on raw milk being sold by the Amish, because I saw an article where the people were backlashing on saying, don't buy raw milk. You can't drink raw milk. And now I can see it's just another fight against the Amish because they're trying to preserve their way of life. So all of you, thank you for being here. I appreciate you more than you know. Oh my goodness. Thank you. And prayers go out to Diane. And we are here when you are ready, Diane. But don't feel pressured, and you are in our prayers. We are. I would appreciate if you would check the button that says all notifications. If you haven't subscribed, I hope you will consider it. And then for sure, please hit the thumbs up. That will help get the video out to other people. And after today, it'll be oh ho ho ho. And so we will be switching over to our Christmassy theme. All right. You guys have a really, really blessed Thanksgiving Day. Love you all. Bye.